What's cracking, big dogs? Welcome back. Let me make sure this thing's working. Yeah, we good. We Gucci. Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday, which means we're doing a mock draft. This one's going to be kind of a special mock draft. Now, on draft.com, the draft app, they are doing a best ball championship, which is a $25 entry. So this ain't really a mock draft. This is an actual money entry thing that I'm doing here with $1 million in prizes. And that is going to be the draft I'm doing for y'all today. On a side note, I want to say I really appreciate all the feedback that you guys have been giving me on the behind-the-scenes videos I've done. The ones that are out already right now was the first one with Andy Holloway, the fantasy footballers. You guys seem to have really liked that one. The second one, in my opinion, was just as good with Josh Hornsby, Josh ADHD on Twitter, of Fantasy Insiders, Roto Grinders. He's the one that makes all the cool tools you'll see on RotoViz and whatnot. So make sure you check those two out. And I asked you guys how often you wanted to see those, and most of you guys said once a week because there's so much player analysis to do before the draft. So I am going to scale it back. Rather than my original plan of Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, we're going to do it just on Mondays. Instead of my In the Muck Monday videos, because I only have a couple Mondays left anyways, and that's going to have to change when the season starts. I'm going to be putting the behind-the-scenes industry looks of the fantasy football industry, these kind of videos out every Monday because, I want those videos to be kind of inspirational to be to a lot of you guys and motivational. And it's not just about fantasy football. It's about, life and wanting more. So I figure those are a good way to start your week by, listening or watching those videos. And then you can get into the fantasy stuff afterwards. So they're going to be once a week on Mondays from now on. Just kind of wanted to get that out of the way for you. So we're going to go through this process. I have actually never done this before. I haven't entered any of these leagues. So you're just going to, I guess, watch me do this thing. And okay, so we're in $25, 3 of 12 drafters. Now, since this is a little bit more expensive, it might take a little bit of time to fill up. We're only at 3 of 12. And I guess we'll talk about my strategy in these things. So basically, I think how it works is, let me get a better look at this. So weeks 1 through 12 is the round of, they're trying to get 46,080 people. And what I guess you do is most points at the end. I'm pretty sure you have to have the most points in your league, so that narrows it down to a 12th of whatever's in here. The most points in there, or unless you're playing against other people for week 13. Either way, basically your team just has to be incredible, and you have to have the most points scored, which means you are not looking to have high floor players. You are looking at high ceiling players only. This type of draft would make me much more susceptible drafting guys. Like if I do go with Gronk in the early rounds, I would probably also pair him with a Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed is someone I'm avoiding like the plague in redraft leagues, right? I just don't like guys who have durability issues like that. However, he gives you ridiculous upside in this kind of league, and that's something you have to look for. Other players that I would be looking for. I want to talk about handcuffs for a minute. I think you guys can learn a little bit from this as well. The idea behind handcuffs, of course, is owning the running back behind the starting running back. So if you own Todd Gurley, you would be handcuffing him with John Kelly. Now what that does is secures your floor. So Todd Gurley gets hurt, that means John Kelly will step in and replicate his production. To maximize, right? So handcuffing your own player is maximizing your floor. Handcuffing another player's running back is maximizing the ceiling because, it's maximizing the ceiling, but it's lowering your floor. Because if you have Todd Gurley, right, and then you have, say, Rod Smith, who I believe is Zeke Elliott's handcuff, if you have those two guys, Todd Gurley gets hurt, but Rod Smith is still the backup there, your floor is like, you're dropping through the floor, which is irrelevant in this type of draft because you don't care about how high your floor is. All you care about is ceiling. So you're not. A late round strategy I think would work well in this league, or what I'm going to do in my later rounds, is look for running backs that are handcuffs to other people's running backs. I won't draft 2 running backs on the same team because that kind of hurts your upside. So I would be looking, if I get like a Le'Veon Bell, maybe I'd be looking to take John Kelly in the later rounds because if Todd Gurley goes down, then not only do you have Bell as a high-end RB1, but you have the guy that's replacing Todd Gurley. So your ceiling is so high, but your floor gets lowered. And that's the kind of stuff you would be looking for in this kind of league. And those are really like the only tips I have strategy-wise, but you just really, at the end of the day, have to stay away from low or high floor plays. Like Adam Thielen, I'd be staying away from because he's a great low floor guy, a high floor guy, because you'd expect him to get a ton of targets. But I don't really think his ceiling is through the roof. Stephon Diggs, on the other hand, is someone who I think ceiling is a top 5 wide receiver. So I would really like to grab him. Gronk is maybe more susceptible to someone I would grab because, again, his ceiling, if he stays healthy, is through the roof. And in order to win this championship, there's 46,000 people. You need a miracle. So you're banking on the upside, right? You're not drafting smart. You're drafting for Hail Marys and you're drafting for hallelujahs, right? So I kind of throw injury concerns out the window if the player's ceiling is really, 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 really high. I like a C-Mac here too because if they're going to use him like the feature back that they did in the preseason Week 1 game, I don't want to get ahead of myself because I did hear on a podcast today that they didn't use C.J. Anderson with the ones or they didn't run him hard because they didn't want him to get hurt and he's new to the system and I don't know. It sounds like a bunch of bullshit, but like at the same time, I want to see McCaffrey is a guy that I was a little bit lower on because I was nervous about C.J. Anderson coming in. However, with C.J. Anderson not playing much in the Week 1 preseason game, I don't know how much to look into that because usage are the statistics that you need to look at in preseason. You don't care about the box score. You don't care about who scored, who put up a lot of yards because that shit is very skewed when you're in the preseason for a number of reasons. Teams don't game plan and you know the teams are just experimenting with things. So you want to look at usage stats though because Christian McCaffrey played in every single starter snap. They used him on the goal line where we expected C.J. Anderson to be used because he's obviously bigger. And at this point, maybe better in between the tackles, but maybe not. Maybe that's something I'll be wrong on with Christian McCaffrey. So I'm more intrigued at the storyline there when it goes into weeks 1 and to weeks 2. But you know what? We're kind of going to pause here, and I will back up with you guys when the draft actually takes off. All right, so we're back on the clock, and I have the 11th pick. I'm assuming the top running backs are going to be off the board. I might do something crazy here and go 0 running back. I don't really know why. And I don't really care, to be honest, just because it's this league type. But for real, I want to give you guys good analysis, right? I definitely don't recommend 0 running back this year in your drafts. Even at pick 11, that's a tough pick because you're kind of hoping Gordon, Fournette, one of those guys fall to you. In my personal opinion, I'm not going with Kareem Hunt or Dalvin Cook here. I think they're both not super overvalued, but I think they're being a little overdrafted here, expected to be the full-out workhorses on their team. I was listening to a pod from Evan Silva today, and he's talked to many people from the Vikings training camp, the beat reporters and stuff, saying Latavius Murray is going to be very, very involved in this offense, guys. Don't just write him off because you like Dalvin Cook. I do too. He's a phenomenal running back. But Latavius Murray is going to take a lot of valuable work there, especially down the goal line. Same with Kareem Hunt in the sense of Spencer Ware. So I'm not reaching for those guys. I would gladly take a few wide receivers there over those running backs if all these running backs go off the board first. I would be happy with any of these guys up to Kareem Hunt as my RB1. I also like the thought of Devonta Freeman there. And Christian McCaffrey as well, but I probably wouldn't go that early into 111. We'll see. We'll see who falls to me here. We'll just kind of relax. Something I got to do during these mock drafts because I always end up talking for like 45 straight minutes, and then my head feels like it's gonna explode. Like I don't need any more caffeine, but I might just go. Ooh, okay. So we went with Kamara. I'm assuming we're going to see some interesting draft picks throughout this draft, particularly because it is this draft style, and you have to pick. You have to try to get the best team available, the best players who are going to score the highest points, right? So you're only looking for upside. So far we have Gurley, Zeke, Bell, David Johnson, Kamara, Barkley. So 6 running backs off the board, which is kind of funny because that's how my rankings are. Ooh, Dalvin Cook, huh? My rankings, I moved Brown back to pick number 7. If you're interested in grabbing my rankings, you could do so. BigDogsFantasy.com, hit the shop button. You can purchase my draft guide, which has all my ranking stuff, but I don't really want to plug a bunch of shit in here. Okay, so Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette. Hopefully Melvin Gordon falls to me here. I feel like he probably won't, but we'll see. I actually, I'm kind of happy Melvin Gordon fell to me or almost didn't. Okay, well, he fell to me, but I'm actually going to stray away from Melvin Gordon. And the reason being is because while he's one of those players that I pretty much just mentioned that you kind of want to stay away from in a league like this where you're going for absolutely the most points because his floor is super high. But I would argue that the ceiling of an Odell or a Julio is much higher. And I'm actually going to go with Julio Jones here. I think Julio, I mean, we all know Julio Jones' ceiling, right? And in a league like this, you're banking on the player hitting their utmost ceiling. Julio Jones has 4 straight years of 1,400 yards and 80 catches. I'm expecting a bounce back year for Julio Jones and this Atlanta receiving group, right? So if he does hit a ceiling, you're looking at, let me make my pick here because this is actually a big money league, so I kind of have to think through these things. Ooh, should I go with Gronk here? No, I mean, I guess I could go with Melvin Gordon here, but I'm actually going to probably pass that up and go with Michael Thomas. Just to pair them two. I like to get some high upside wide receivers here. And this was my In the Muck Monday video where I debated the two guys, and clearly, like I said, I wanted Julio first. But, you know, Julio Jones, obviously, if he ever hits a ceiling, imagine, okay, so Julio's normal numbers, right? 80 to 90 catches, 1,400 to 1,600 yards. But imagine he hits his touchdown ceiling. Like, imagine he converts 8 to 12 touchdowns. On top of those numbers, you're probably looking at wide receiver 1, maybe wide receiver 2 number if Antonio Brown, you know, does his normal thing. But that's the kind of upside Julio Jones has. And I feel like his upside is not that far out of reach. So I'm cool with the Julio Jones here in a league where you're looking for strictly upside. Michael Thomas, I think he's got great upside as well. He's so young, and he established himself as an elite pass catcher. Think about that. He's just 24 years old. He's entering the prime, and he's still got a Drew Brees who's coming off his most efficient year. The volume was down, and that's why a lot of people are probably down on Brees overall. But I think Brees is in a perfect situation to capitalize on his kind of lower draft value here. So we've got some time in between picks. In between Julio, we had Kareem and Odell. I probably would have went Odell there if him and Michael Thomas are both available because Odell, just like Julio, has that wide receiver 1 upside. I think Michael Thomas does too, but I think Odell and Julio's ceiling are just like crazy, crazy high. You know what I mean? So after Michael Thomas, we had Melvin Gordon go off the board, Keenan Allen, Devonta Freeman, Gronk, Christian McCaffrey. So pretty typical standard stuff, except for the fact that we saw Antonio Brown go after Kamara and Barkley. We also saw Dalvin Cook at the 1-8 spot, which was pretty early. I am completely fading him in the first round. Joe Mixon at 2-8. Joe Mixon's a guy I guess I can't argue about in the second round either because, I mean, in a redraft league, I love Mixon. I love the fact that he lost weight, and he's kind of taking a career projection path similar to Le'Veon Bell, where he struggled in his rookie year, bad offensive line, lost weight, and now he looks better. And he looked a lot better in their preseason game where he scored that nice touchdown where he made a couple guys miss on the reception. So I really like where Mixon's at. However, I mean, there is always Gio there. You never know how that's going to work out. You never know if the offense is really going to be that much improved. They brought in some help on the O-line. They drafted Billy Price with their first-round pick to replace their center, who was their weak point last year. And then the left tackle spot, they bring in Cordy Glenn from the Bills, who has had a lot of injury history over the last couple of years. He's struggled to stay healthy. So there's a lot of upside there with Joe Mixon, right? If he becomes a bell cow, his talent is enough to launch him into the top 5, even top 3 of the running back position. However, there are question marks. So he's a little scary in redraft. However, he's probably a perfect pick for a league like this, a scenario like this. After Mixon, we had Devonta Adams, A.J. Green, Jordan Howard, Jerick McKinnon, Mike Evans. I think my love for Stephon Diggs might be going too high. So I'm also in the middle of another draft here. I'll pop it up for you guys. It's the Fantasy Jocks draft. They do an annual draft every year. They invite me to it. Thankfully, it's a nice thing for them to do. Wow, 2 tight ends. What are you doing there, Smith? That's a horrible pick. Sorry, guy. You're about to be put on blast. So I actually ended up taking Stephon Diggs here. So this is a 14-team league, half PPR, but it is Superflex. Superflex, keep that in mind. I had the second pick, so I went with Bell there because Zeke went off the board. He would have been my 2 if Bell went first. And you saw Aaron Rodgers was the first pick. Obviously, Superflex means in one of your flex spots you can start a second quarterback, which you always want to do. So quarterbacks are much more valuable. We had Deshaun Watson go off here, and then I was the 213. So remember, this is like pick 27 because this is a 14-team league. And I was up, and Stephon Diggs, A.J. Green, T.Y. Hilton were on the board. And I don't know. I just was like, Stephon, dude, I'm all in on Stephon Diggs. I think I'm going to own him in every single league this year. Even if that means me picking him above AJ Green and T.Y. Hilton, which I guess means I need to readjust my rankings and put them that way. Because my rankings, the way I do my rankings is basically I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the players left. After I put a guy on the rankings list, he's off the sheet, right? Then I say, who would I want right now? If I'm on the board, if I could pick anyone in a vacuum, who is it? And clearly, you know, look at my actions. Don't listen to my words. It's Stephon Diggs here. So I went Diggs, and then I went with Brady because there's 25 picks in between my next pick, and I'm sure there's going to be a monster quarterback run because you start 2 quarterbacks. So I didn't want to chance it and have, you know, the quarterback like 17 and 18 be my 2 starters there. So figured I'd get Brady. I really like Brady this year. I mean, he just does his thing every time. Looking at the Vegas odds, he is the favorite to lead the league in both passing yards and passing touchdowns. Fine with that as my 3rd round pick. Coming back to the actual draft that you guys are watching me do, we had so Mike Evans, T.Y. Hilton, Diggs, Travis Kelce, LaShawn McCoy, Alex Collins. Wow, Thielen went all the way down here, huh? Thielen, Baldwin, Ertz, Derrick Henry. This is an interesting pick for me. This is, oh man, I wish I would have been prepping for it and not talking to you guys because those would have probably been my picks right here. Thielen, Baldwin, Ertz, Henry. Okay, let me just gather my thoughts before I make this pick. Fuck it, man. We going with Kenyon Drake. This is probably the only share of Kenyon Drake I'm going to own. This is probably it, guys. So take it in, suck it in, and I'll talk about it after this pick because there's, you know, I need to gather my thoughts for a minute. Royce Freeman, okay, interesting. At the 4-2, what is that? Pick 38, Fitz is there, Tyreek Hill. A lot of people would probably be saying to themselves like Tyreek Hill's a good upside play here. And I kind of argue that because I don't think his upside is as high as you're only really banking on an injury because otherwise he's not getting the volume. He didn't get the volume there last year without Sammy Watkins, and without an injury, he's not going to get it this year. It's only going to go down with Watkins there. So I went with my boy Juju Smith-Schuster. You know I've been repping Juju since March, April, whenever I started doing my fantasy analysis. He was incredible last year as a rookie. He broke off the 70-yard touchdown in their preseason Week 1 game. I have no qualms with Juju Smith-Schuster. I think this is a one pick that I might look back on the draft and kind of question and say that he's a high floor pick. But Antonio Brown's a little banged up right now. Who knows what's going to happen with that? They did say he was going to be back like very, very soon, and now he still hasn't been practicing yet. We have to see what's is he back? Actually, I might be lying there. He might be back in practice. Let me check that. But if something were to happen to Antonio Brown, man, Juju Smith-Schuster is like a top 5 wide receiver. Okay, so he's been cleared to practice. That was actually like 6 days ago, huh? I'm a fraud. Whatever. So I don't know. I just like Juju Smith-Schuster, man. We saw him down the stretch last year as like a top 10 fantasy wide receiver, and people are like, oh, it's because Antonio Brown was out. But I went back and looked at the numbers, and there was that 7-game stretch where Juju went absolutely off. And 5 of those 7 games he played with Antonio Brown, and his numbers were almost identical. I'm just a fan of Juju Smith-Schuster as a player, guys, and that's pretty much why I went with him there. Over a guy like Fitz, he's a high floor guy as well, but I'd rather take the mystery in Juju Smith-Schuster, who I think has upside. Now, Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake is a guy that I will absolutely be fading in redraft leagues. Oh, Elliot Christ. He's kind of a big name in fantasy right now. But anyways, on Twitter that I follow, he is, yeah, of course, he took Lamar Miller there. It's a good pick by him. Who else is he taking? Yep, he took Stephon Diggs. Okay, yeah, see, he knows his turf. So Kenyon Drake is a guy that we can all agree is probably one of the hardest guys to analyze this year in fantasy football. He is coming off a year where he exploded down the second half, and he showed us his talent, but it was in a very small sample size. They took in Frank Gore. Frank Gore is not going anywhere, guys. All reports from practice are just saying that they're legitimately splitting reps, and Kenyon Drake has not run away with the first team. However, if they do end up giving him that role and Frank Gore shows to be inefficient and Father Time eventually catches up to him, then Kenyon Drake has that top, 8, top whatever upside because he was used in the passing game. He was used in the running game. He was a guy who really broke out last year. And his upside, of course, his upside is there. But his downside is very low. And again, guys, I don't really care about the downside in this type of draft because there are 48,000 teams that I need to compete against. Another good pick by Elliot Christ there. Allen Robinson, another guy with super high ceiling that I probably won't be touching in redraft because I don't really like where his floor is. Okay, so my pick's kind of coming up in a little bit. Let's see where else I could go here. I'll be doing the same thing in terms of quarterback play. I'll still be waiting on quarterback. I'll draft a couple in the last round that have high ceilings. Corey Davis, nice pick there. I already have 3 wide receivers, so unless I see a crazy value, like Josh Gordon would be a good pick in this league, I think, because he has that upside that we all know about. I don't think he's going to fall to me here. I'm sure he'll be back at practice soon. He probably wants to stay away from hard knocks for as long as he can, to be honest with you. But all signs are saying that he's going to be back in practice. A couple guys I absolutely love. If Kerryon Johnson falls to me here, I definitely will be taking him because he looked amazing in the preseason. He's a guy that, I've loved basically all summer. He has all 3 down skill sets, pass blocking, pass catching, running in between the tackles, running outside, and they were able to put that on display in the preseason game. And, you could look at Blunt and you could look at Riddick and be like, yeah, the Lions clearly want to use both guys. But listen, if Kerryon Johnson gives him the versatility, the problem with like Theo Riddick and Blunt is when you put them on the field, you know what's coming as a defense. If you have a guy like Kerryon Johnson who has all the versatility, this is from like a real life NFL standpoint, which usually ends up translating into fantasy. When you have a guy that has a 3 down skill set, you don't have to be swapping out people all the time, and you don't have to tip your snipe me with Kerryon. You don't have to tip your cap all the time. So a couple guys I'm looking at here right now. Someone with Deshaun Watson, huh? I guess that's not. Oh, okay. So Josh Gordon's still on the board. I'm actually going to take Josh Gordon here because even though, this is best ball, guys. So if you're unaware, best ball is where you have these starting lineups here, right? Quarterback, running back, 3 wide receiver, tight end. But the software automatically starts your best performing players all each week. So you don't like just because I picked 4 wide receivers doesn't mean I wasted a draft pick. It's pretty much the best performers will automatically get started there. So it's not really it doesn't you don't have to pick based on your starting lineup. So we have Burkhead. Let's see, Coleman. Coleman's a great pick here because if something happens to Freeman, who's dealt with a lot of concussions, he has top 5 upside. You know what? I kind of like Jamal Williams here. I like Sony Michel too, but I hate that he's missing this much time. So I think it kind of puts him back on the depth chart. I'm going to go with Jamal Williams here. So yes, my 0 RB strategy is really going into effect. Jamal Williams, the reason I really like Jamal Williams is, one, Aaron Jones has been banged up. He has not been practicing. He obviously has that 2-game suspension. So everything is working against Aaron Jones right now. As much as you like the talent, and in my In the Muck Monday video, of course, I touched on that I would rather have Aaron Jones over Jamal Williams, and that was prior to the injuries, that was prior to the suspension, but I just liked Aaron Jones as a talent. However, you have to factor these other things into consideration when you are drafting, guys. The fact that he's missing this time means he is just falling further and further down the depth chart. This Green Bay Packers coaching staff doesn't want to deal with that bullshit. He's going to give them problems off the field and on the field, not going to be able to stay healthy. They want to feed one running back. They want to feature one running back, man. And last year, it was in 10 of their 16 games, a running back had 20 or more touches. In 12 of 16 games, a running back had 15 or more touches. One single running back, which means that on a game-by-game basis, there is usually one running back that really becomes the bell cow. However, none of them could stay healthy last year. So my hope with Jamal Williams in a draft like this where the upside is super crazy high, or you need players who have super crazy high upside, is that he is going to get the first crack. He was with the starters in their preseason game. He will be getting the first crack as the starting running back in the Green Bay Packers offense. And if they're going to give him 15 to 20 touches behind Aaron Rodgers, right, he's going to need to lose that job or get hurt. So, again, I'm not drafting based on people getting hurt. So, I think Jamal Williams has the upside to keep the job if he performs well with Aaron Rodgers there. And I feel like that's not too hard to do because defenses can no longer stack the box like they did against him last year. So I definitely like where I got Jamal Williams there, and he's a guy I would definitely be looking for in this type of league. There goes Jimmy Graham. I was going to say I wouldn't hate Jimmy Graham in this type of league either because the touchdown upside, of course, is there. However, I'm not touching him in redraft. What else do we got? So Ronald Jones, yeah, you could stay there all night. I ain't touching that boy. I'll see what tight ends we got. I mean, in a league like this, I'm probably going for upside as well. So I might take a combination of like OJ Howard and David Njoku, unless he already. Oh, he just got picked. Okay, so those guys just went off the board. But those are the type of upside guys. Because if I don't get like a Gronk or a Kelsey, then I'm definitely just going for like a Jordan Reed and an OJ Howard, banking on one of them kind of going off here. So I might. We'll see what happens here if tight ends start going, but I might skip out on them and look at receivers or So as far as Alshon Jeffrey, a lot of concerning reports are coming out about him possibly being on the PUP list, which is whatever. We're never going to know that until that actually comes up into consideration. I just don't think he's going to get off to a fast start anyways. That shoulder injury is a very hard one to recover from. He's on a very long timetable to come back. So even if he does get back for the first week or the second week or something, there's a good chance maybe he's not even out of shape, but there's a good chance he starts slow. And there's Carson Wentz coming back off his injury. There's a lot of things that they're going to have to click together in order to make this work. I mean, at the end of the 7th round, obviously Alshon Jeffrey's not a bad pick, but I'm just trying to explain to you why I think he drops so far in these leagues. Kyle Rudolph, Delaney Walker's still on the board, man. He's my boy. I liked Randall Cobb there a lot. There's not a lot of upside with Woods. Not a lot of upside with Crowder or Kupp, in my opinion. Garcon, absolutely not. Too crowded and bunches. I actually love Nelson Aguilar here, just for the reasons that I don't like Alshon Jeffrey. Why not love Nelson Aguilar? Other running backs here. You might be thinking of Marlon Mack. Why doesn't he have crazy upside? It's a very muddy situation in Indy. And now his hamstring injury is going to keep him out a few weeks. That is not good when you're in an actual competition, guys. So we're going to stay away from Marlon Mack. Do not draft Marlon Mack right now if you were doing a redraft league, peoples. So I'm going to keep piling on wide receivers, or at least as much as if I keep seeing value here. I'm going to go with Aguilar here. I'm going to keep doing that because, like I said, my late round strategy for running backs is going to be other people's handcuffs or guys that I think are in muddy backfields. Like perfect example, Jordan Wilkins. JJ Zachariason did a great article he made a great podcast about what you look for in breakout running backs. Like how do you look for them? Shit. And one of the key factors for him was, let me look at tight ends. I'm probably going to go with a tight end here. Do I want to go with the tight end? Because I could still... Yeah, I'm going to go with Delaney here because I really like him that much. But, so he was talking about which running backs are, what do you look at to pinpoint a breakout running back? And it's usually the guys in a muddy backfield, in a good team situation, but a muddy backfield. And they eventually emerge throughout the year as the starter. And I see that in Indy happening between someone there. And I like Jordan Wilkins. And there was just reports out of camp today that he was taking most reps with the first team. And as long as Marlon Mack is out, and he was the starter there, that rope is going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. He was not a high draft capital. He was a 4th round pick. Wilkins was either a 4th or a 5th round pick. New regime there. So I don't think they have any loyalty to Mack other than if they think he's better than him at this point. But Wilkins can certainly make his way into that role and then take over the starting job soon because he's someone who has a 3-down skill set. Jordan Wilkins is a guy I'm absolutely targeting here. I love Peyton Barber all the way in like the 9th, 10th round as well. So this is kind of why I like the 0 wide receiver role because I got 4, 5 really good wide receivers that I like a lot. And then I can get guys like Corey Clement who has crazy upside if something happens to Ajayi. I really like Peyton Barber too because he's the clear-cut starter there in Tampa Bay, guys, right? 13 of 14 starter snaps with the ones. And he is a starter. Dirk Cutter came out and said that, and people can keep taking Rojo over Peyton Barber, but they're making a huge mistake. I'm telling you that now, guys. I know y'all want me to take Chris Carson. Guys, as much as I fuck around about Chris Carson on Twitter and stuff, the Penny injury, of course, it makes you like Chris Carson more, but it's going to make people like Chris Carson probably too much. He's still behind a horrible line. I'm sure they're somehow going to put him in a running back by committee. If it's not Penny, it's Mike Davis. If it's not Mike Davis, it's McKissick. If it's it's one or another. So I don't really see Chris Carson ever working out to be the workhorse there, and they're going to use other players. So I love Chris Carson as a talent in a vacuum. I just don't think Seattle's going to use him correctly, and it's not a good offensive situation. So 8th round, sure. But don't start getting crazy and picking Carson in like the 5th, 6th round of redraft leagues. You're going to end up regretting that. I probably shouldn't have gone with Delaney Walker because he doesn't really have that much upside, but that's okay. It's okay. Kenny Galladay's not a guy I hate here either. But again, like, I don't know. I feel like 9th round and 10th round is a little too early to be picking guys that have upside based on injury. You know what I mean? Like Kenny Galladay, everybody loves Kenny Galladay. And at this point, if you play fantasy football, you know who Kenny Galladay is. However, he is still the clear wide receiver 3 behind Tate and Marvin Jones. So you need an injury. So guys that you're drafting in the 9th or 10th round, I still feel like you should be getting value on their actual standalone play value. You know what I mean? I'm all good with picking upside guys based on injury in the 14th, 13th, 14th, 15th round, right, guys? But I don't want to get, like, crazy. And that's more of, like, a redraft tip, I would say, than an actual tip for right now. Because, again, I'm only looking for upside. I wonder who's going to time out and pick Darius, guys. I hope that happens. Yeah, people finally know. Pierre Garcon is literally no upside. Fuck Garcon, bro. CJ, Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde is a guy I'm liking in redraft more and more. He was the starter there in their preseason game. Got 3 snaps. They took him right out. Nick Chubb did not look good. I mean, their line was horrible, but again, he didn't impress by any means, in my humble ass opinion. Who do we got here? What do we got here? Do I need to take a running back? I actually might grab Peyton Barber. And this is the thing, guys. When you're getting this low into the draft, don't worry really about the ADPs. Just go get your damn guys, because if you miss out on him and you're like, oh, I was hoping he fell all the way to me, like that usually doesn't work out. So there's 3 running backs I'm looking at right now. It's Peyton Barber, it is Jordan Wilkins, and it is Latavius Murray. This is actually tough for me right now. I'm going to go with, let me see his team. Oh, you can't even click on it by looking at it. I'm going to go with Peyton Barber. Here. Because he has that starter role, man. Oh, I didn't realize Duke was available, but I don't want Duke in this type of league. So Peyton Barber, like I said, starter. I like getting starters in the 10th round. I'm okay with this. I still haven't even looked at the quarterback position. I love that. You guys take away that point of view. Latavius Murray is... I'm going to go Latavius over Jordan because Latavius Murray actually has the clear-cut role in this offense. It's a goal line back, and he's going to be a change of pace work back. So, with that being said, Latavius Murray, there are a very few amount of guys that I feel strongly that they are actually handcuffs in their offense, right? You might like a backup running back, but are you the actual handcuff? Latavius Murray, there is no doubt there shouldn't be any doubt in anyone's mind that if Dalvin Cook goes down, Latavius Murray is playing all 3 downs for the Vikings and getting 20-plus touches a game. He basically did that last year while Jerick McKinnon was already there once Dalvin Cook went out. So Latavius Murray is going to get a ton of goal line touches this year. He scored, I think, 8 touchdowns last year. He had like maybe 12 the year before that with the Raiders. He's a guy that coaches understand that they can give him the ball on the goal line, and good things will happen. So Latavius Murray has crazy, crazy upside. I don't think Jordan Wilkins will fall to me. I feel like Elliott Christ, he's kind of sharp. He'll probably grab him with one of these picks. But I don't know. There's probably better value at wide receiver. Let's see, Devontae Parker. Dude, I'm all out on Devontae Parker. I know I picked him over Jameson Crowder. I actually probably wasted a lot of y'all's time doing that in the Muck Monday, to be honest with you. But now he's dealing with a broken finger, and I don't know. I just want no part of Devontae Parker anymore, not even this late in the draft. Allen Hurns, he's my preferred Dallas receiver still, but there's still not a lot of upside there. He's a better redraft value than upside guy. Mike Williams, dude, he's like this. Right now, he's wide receiver 3 behind Tyrell Williams still. I don't know. Some people are really high on Williams for a breakout this year. I am not the same. I'm not in that category. So Mike Williams is not a guy I'm necessarily going out and targeting. I like Tyler Lockett. Hate Marquise Lee. I like Cameron Meredith. I love me some Anthony Miller. I actually like that Miller kind of dipped back down to earth after not really showing up in their first preseason game. So now people are like, you know what? He didn't perform right away, so we're not going to take him. But he's definitely still a guy I fucking love. I love down here. Chris Godwin's a guy I love as well. I did not expect, like, I knew the summer was going to be crazy when I'm putting out this much content. But goddamn. You guys, I feel like you guys would be very surprised by the amount of, like, tweets and DMs and shit that I get on the regular. Maybe you wouldn't be surprised, but it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So if I ever loop out during, like, these videos, which I do all the time, that's the reason why, because my phone probably popped up and is showing something. Ooh, someone took Clement. I was thinking of Clement there. So let's talk about handcuffs. Yeah, Latavius Murray is a guy I feel strongly about. Pretty sure Corey Clement would have a monster role if Ajayi got hurt. And you can't really confidently say that too much about a lot of running backs. Like, I know a lot of you guys in your head are probably naming guys, but like Todd Gurley, I would say John Kelly, Zeke, Rod Smith, Bell, maybe James Conner. But they also took Jalen Samuels, and they're using him as like a weapon, kind of running back weapon guy. David Johnson, Chase Edmonds, but again, I don't know if I really trust that they're going to give him that. He's like a smaller back. Alvin Kamara obviously doesn't have a handcuff. Alvin Kamara is like a handcuff for himself. I don't even know. Saquon Barkley, you don't want his handcuff. Cook, Latavius Murray, Leonard Fournette. It would be a mix between T.J. Yeldon and Corey Grant. Both guys that I like, but you can, if you're being honest with yourself, neither of them are legit handcuffs. It would be a running back by Committee. Ooh, so okay. So we got Eifert there, and we got O.J. Howard. Both. I'll take one of these two tight ends probably, because both of them I think have really good upside. And I'm the next pick, so I will get one of them at least. See where this guy goes. Maybe I'll take a shot on Dez. What if I'm wrong on Dez? What if Dez is still Dez? I don't think he is. I'm not gonna take the shot on him though. My man's timed out and took Darius Geis. There goes $25, my friend. What a schmuck. All right, so I'm gonna go with O.J. Howard. What do you mean it's not my turn? Dude, I hate when this fucking app glitches out. Good thing I got my phone right here. Hopefully it opens by the time. Come on. Open up, you fool. You fool. Oh my god, they're going to fuck me right now. God damn it. All right, well, they took Matt Ryan, although I wanted to go with the tight end there. I guess I'm not that mad, considering there's not a lot of good quarterbacks left. But still, I wanted O.J. Howard. Word to the wise, if you're using Draft, have it open on your phone as well, peoples. So Chris Godwin's not going to fall back to me. He is someone that I want on this list. Geronimo Allison. So do I take O.J. Howard or do I take Chris Godwin? That's the question. I'm going to go with O.J. Howard, or do I want Jordan Wilkins? What do I need more help at? I think I need more help at running back than any of those positions. So I'm going to go with Jordan Wilkins there, because just the value of having, if he does break out, the value of having a breakout running back that performs really, really well is so much more valuable than having like a high wide receiver. You know what I mean? Just comparatively speaking, they score a lot more points. So, bro, I'm going to have to like quit my goddamn marketing job soon. I ain't got time for this, bro. I'm just trying to give you fantasy football numbers. That's all I want to do. That's all your mains wants to do, bro. Okay, so Miller went off the board. Tymont, Dez. We're back on. We bike. Oh, man. Oh, damn, Chris Godwin. How did Shard go? All right, I'm just blabbering to myself. I wasn't even looking at the damn thing. So tight ends with upside. Ooh, Ricky Seals. That's my man's. Got him. I'm actually glad they auto-picked Matt Ryan for me before, because there was a big quarterback run. I love Case Keenum. Case Keenum, fall to me right now. Please, do me a favor. Actually, I like Tyrod, too. The only thing I don't like about Tyrod, though, I feel like there's no way Baker Mayfield does not get on the field this year. Right? Am I right or am I wrong? I'm just thinking out loud right now, guys. He was so good in the first preseason games, the best weapons he's got. I love Case Keenum, though. Who's got a higher upside? Definitely Tyrod. But he's got... You know what? Like I said, you don't go about floor. You go with upside here. We're going with Ty God, the God. So I went Ricky Seals-Jones because looking at the preseason usage, man, he played 8 of 10 snaps with the starters. He is their clear tight end one. He was running routes. He was getting targets. That's going to be his role in this offense. So we predicted it, and that's what we're seeing. And he's going to be the third target on that team behind Fitz and behind David Johnson, we know Sam Bradford loves to throw over the middle to guys like Ricky Seals-Jones. So expecting a big second year for him, and I think there's a lot of upside to be had there. So like Ricky Seals, normally I would not be taking Tyrod Taylor in best ball, but since you need to have like the best of the best team, I will go with Tyrod because I think his ceiling is incredibly high, of course, because if he does remain the starter for the 16 weeks, actually, you know why that might have been a bad pick? Because I think this goes into, let me check. What week does this go into? It goes into week 16. There's probably a chance. You know what's going to happen? I don't think Tyrod's going to play that bad. Or Tyrod, I apologize, Tyrod. I don't think Tyrod's going to play that bad. But the Browns are totally out of playoff contention. Like if they're, I don't know, they're like 5-9 by the time week 15 comes around, there is a very good chance that they just want to see what Baker Mayfield has over the last 4 or 5 games. So that was probably a horrible pick by me in Tyrod Taylor. God damn it, Nick. What is you doing, baby? Yeah, so, I mean, at least y'all learned a lesson at my expense. Hope you're happy. I hope you enjoyed it. Y'all are pieces of poopies. So I'm going to go with 2 quarterbacks. I'm going to go with 2 tight ends, and the rest are going to be high upside running backs and wide receivers. Ooh, that was a bad pick by LA Christ, man. I'm not in on Teddy Ginn. I'm completely fading Ginn. I don't know. Traquan Smith was running with the ones, man. I think he might take over that deep role there in the Saints offense. He's getting good reports out of practice. He got snaps with the one in the preseason game. So obviously a lot more information will come out over the weeks 2 and weeks 3 as we see the starters play a full half and then 3 quarters or a full game almost. So we'll have a lot better idea of what the actual splits are between running back committees and wide receiver committees and things like that. But for now, I can only go off the information that we have. Y'all knows what that means. Okay, so running backs that obviously are like kind of handcuffs that have super high upside would be guys like Austin Eckler, Spencer Ware. That's kind of it in my opinion. So John Kelly too, but this is an 18-round draft, so I have 4 picks left. I will probably split it up, maybe 3. Since I went so wide receiver heavy early, I might take 3 running backs and have 8 on my team and have 6 wide receivers. Maybe I should go 7 and 6. I just don't know. Hang. Yeah, my wide receivers are so strong that I'm going to have to go probably 8 and 6. Who do we like here at wide receiver? I'll probably use wide receiver as a last pick. Yeah, I want to make sure I get these running backs. I want to make sure I get Eckler and Spencer Ware right now, because I'm pretty sure John Kelly will fall to my next pick. Maybe not, but I would rather have Spencer. Spencer Ware is a guy that I want because he's someone that I think is going to step in after Spencer Ware and get, because he's done it before in that Chiefs offense. He's been the main workhorse, and he's been a top 12 fantasy running back. So I don't think they'll have any problem feeding him the rock if something were to happen to Hunt. So at this point in the draft, you're not getting production value, guys. You're just hoping for something big to happen. So we're going to go with Spencer Ware here. And do I want John Kelly or do I want Austin Eckler? Who do we think, guys? Who do we think? Huh? I can't hear y'all. Woo! How you doing? Or is there value at wide receiver? Ooh, I do like my man's Keelan Cole, but he didn't play in the first preseason game. And, dude, any missed time, you guys got to understand this. If guys are in committees throughout the summer, any missed time with injuries or whatever is huge for other guys to get reps at camp and move up in the depth chart. I can't overstate that. Do I go with a running back here or do I go with – I feel like there's more value at wide receiver. Not a lot of upside, though, really. So I'll probably stick with a running back. Hell no, not Theoretic. I would have fucking threw my computer if they just drafted Theoretic for me. I'll go with Eckler. Eckler, babe. What do you mean that player was already drafted? That's fucking bullshit. Oh, they gave me Deonta Foreman. I'm upset. And I'm not even going to say it in the Drake voice. Oh, man, I did not want Deonta Foreman. I didn't want him. They made me pick him. I'm so upset. You know why I'm upset? Because Deonta Foreman is coming off a torn Achilles that no one ever comes back from. He's probably going to miss the first 6 games. Probably going to be on the PUP list. Dr. Jesse Morris came on the channel and said, stay away from Deonta Foreman at all costs. He said 25% of running backs that suffer the injury never come back to play again. The rest of them average an explosion loss of 75, a power explosion burst loss of like 75% of their power. Oh, God damn it. I'm going nuts over a 15th round pick right now. Like Austin Eckler is going to make the difference if I win $1 million. I'm absurd. I'm upset. I'm upset. $1 million on the line. They don't take Fournette. Let's go. You guys must think I'm fucking out of my mind. Honestly, it's kind of correct, but okay. So after they picked, I'm not even gonna say his name. After they made my pick for me, went Mike Wallace, Keelan Cole. Big fan of Keelan Cole later in drafts. Vance McDonald. I like Vance McDonald, but he's had a very, very long injury history, and now he is injured again for the Steelers. So hard to say what's going on there. Theo Riddick, I would never take him in this kind of draft. Frank Gore, neither that. Javorius Allen, oh my God, I'm about to fucking throw up with these picks. Cortland Sutton, not bad. D.D. Westbrook, good pick there. Supposedly D.D. Westbrook has been really, he's been like the standout at practices. He ran with the ones in their first preseason game. He's a long field stretcher, and he was dominant down the second half of the stretch last year. So D.D. Westbrook is definitely a guy. I think there's almost no way that Marquise Lee ends the year as like the Jags #1. I think it's going to be either D.D. Westbrook or Keelan Cole. But again, Keelan Cole's missing time, which I hate. Disrespect. Love Taywan Taylor as a late round pick as well. He is their #3. Could be #2 because we don't know what the fuck's going on with Rashard Matthews. And neither of them played. Corey Davis and Shard didn't really play in their first preseason game, and Taywan was like the clear next guy up. He was running in one wide receiver sets and every other starter rep. So he's a late round guy in redraft that I even like. I can't believe they took Deonta Foreman. That was so disrespectful of the draft gods. What's going on in my other league? This makes no sense. This is a Superflex league. Superflex meaning you should start 2 quarterbacks. You don't draft 2 tight ends. You went Gronk and Kelsey. I like that in this type of league, right? But how are you going to draft? I don't know. My mind is blown by that pick right there. You're going to go with the second tight end over your first quarterback in a Superflex league. Or a skill player who... whatever. I'm happy that I grabbed the quarterback there. Even though it doesn't look like anyone's really valuing quarterbacks that much, which is, I mean, I guess it could be good for me. Because what happens in a Superflex league, if people start valuing the quarterback position, their trade value skyrockets. Especially, even better now, because this is a 14-team league, guys. Think about that. 14-team league, everyone starts 2 quarterbacks. That means the waiver wire is not, you're not going to have a single starting quarterback on the waiver wire, because 28 of them are already in starting lineups. And I am certainly picking a third quarterback who is a starting NFL quarterback. Hopefully it comes to that. I can get that. But, it's my pick. Yay. Who did I like? I don't even remember who I was talking about. Nope, not Christian Kirk. I kind of like Callaway, but I don't want to pick him and Josh Gordon on a team I don't think they have much upside in. There's really like not a lot of high upside wide receivers we got left here. I like Deion Kane before he went down. I'll go with the running back right now, so I don't have to make this choice. John Kelly, how you doing? My running back roster court right here is actually absurd. Like, if this is my redraft team, I'd be so upset. That's not a terrible pick, Dallas Goddard. So if Zach Ertz goes down, he's like a top 5 tight end probably. What else we got? I guess I got to go the wide receiver here because I already got 8 running backs. Do I want him? The hell's no. You know what? I'm going to go with Quincy and Nunwa. I'm going to go with Keens. He is just a monster of a person, first of all. And we saw him have a lot of success 2 years ago before he got hurt and missed all of last year. I think that wide receiver group is pretty open. Robbie Anderson is really good. I like him, but I think he's more of a role player than was let on because they didn't really have anything else to work with last year. So he was fed a lot of targets. He was super efficient with them. He's a good wide receiver. There's no doubt about that. But this year, I think with the Nunwa back in the fold, I think those reps are up for grabs. And we'll see who Sam Darnold, their eventual starting quarterback, who I think is going to be the week 1 starter, who he gains a chemistry with there. So that's going to wrap up my team. As I said, I kind of went with the zero running back strategy in hopes of getting a lot of high upside guys late. But this is probably going to murder my team. My wide receivers are fantastic. Love my wide receivers. I like my quarterbacks and tight ends. Overall, guys, you're going to look at this team and you're going to be like, it's a shitty team. But again, I'm going for just super high upside here because 46,000 people I'm playing against. So that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you want to do any draft, if you're new to draft, if you've never seen draft like this best ball league, if you go to draft.com/BDGE and you use the promo code BDGE, you will get a free $3 entry into a real money draft league. So if you sign up using BDGE, you will be able to play on draft.com for free with a $3 entry. So you can practice for your league because I'm sure your drafts are coming up soon. And I'll leave it at that. So I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace.